Hi everyone, this is Ninka and I'm one of the matric science tutors for Gift of the Educators. And today I'm just going to talk a bit about science in general and how it has affected my life. So currently I'm a second year chemical engineering student at Stellenbosch University. And I think my journey with science started back in grade 9, where you have to do the subject choices, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I thought, okay, science, everyone has said that it's a very difficult subject. Like maybe I shouldn't take it, but maybe I might use it because it's going to close a lot of doors if I don't take it. And, that's just what everyone around me said. But in the end, I decided to take science as a subject, mainly because the work did sound quite interesting and I didn't mind the challenge as much. But yeah, I was just kind of interested in science and I didn't really know what it's going to hold. But in the end, I loved it. Like, I really did love the subjects in school. So much so that I got to matric and I decided, okay, I still don't know what I want to do, but it has to be something to do with science. I can't leave this now. And in the end, I really liked chemical engineering, but I still didn't know what it was all about, kind of. So what I did is after matric, I took a year and I went to work on a chemical plant and with chemical engineers. So I was kind of working and shadowing at the same time and just getting to know the working environment and specifically chemical engineering as a profession. Yes, and it was so good for me to do that and to just see, yes, this is what I want to do. I want to do chemical engineering. I'm very interested in it. But something that really surprised me just regarding science is how much I could actually understand in that chemical plant. And I thought I had no knowledge, or I had very basic knowledge of science, just what I got out of matric. But I could still understand most of what was going on, or someone could explain some of the concepts to me. And with my knowledge from matric or from throughout high school of science, I could still understand it and understand most of what was going on. And that definitely showed me how useful science as a subject is and how much you actually learn from it. Even though you think, oh, it's just another subject in school and it's so difficult and all that, you really learn a lot about it. And this was a very professional working environment. So it was quite cool to see how science helped me in that. Now, I think just talking about science as a subject in general, you can kind of split it in two, because most people know that it's split into chemistry and physics. And the physics part, I would say, is a very practical part because it has a lot to do with interpreting the world around you, or like very normal kind of scenarios in a mathematical way. So you can push a box in your room, and that scenario you can interpret mathematically and kind of work out how much force is being used, how fast is the box moving, all that. And it's awesome to see this correlation between real life and what's actually happening in the world and what the numbers behind it is. So that's where physics kind of comes in. And so it's a very practical part of science. And I wouldn't say it's something you would get bored at quickly. It's quite interesting to do. And then the chemistry part, which is just personally my favorite part since I'm studying chemical engineering. I do like chemistry quite a lot, but I really like it because I think everyone has heard kind of the sentence of atoms are the building blocks of all materials. And it sounds overused, but it's completely true. So chemistry really is everywhere in the world around us. And everything, when you get down to it, there's just chemistry as the bottom layer of everything. So if you just think about, I don't know, like the human body, right? Most of your systems that seem complicated and seem like we don't really know how they work, it just boils down to a lot of chemical reactions that take place in your body. And it's just amazing to see how chemistry is also very practical, or you can see a lot of real life examples of chemistry in the world. And I think to summarize those two as science as one subject, it is a very practical subject. even though it doesn't seem like that. It seems like we're just going to do theory and theory and theory about things that we never see in real life. But it's exactly the opposite of that. So in the end, what you're going to do is you're going to see real life and then interpret that in a scientific way. Another thing that science has taught me personally, or that I saw really made a difference in my life, is problem solving skills. So where you, in science, you get a little bit of theory, and you have to know this theory quite well. And I don't know, it's not that bad, it's a little bit of theory. But then you can start interpreting this knowledge that you have. It really becomes quite fun, if I can use that word. But you can kind of interpret it and just apply it on something that you can see in real life, or just a completely different scenario. And this correlation, that's really where the problem solving starts. And it's amazing how your brain is kind of taught to see something and say, okay, I know this. Let's see how we can apply this knowledge on this scenario. So just that problem solving skill that you learn in science as a subject, it's amazing. And you don't even realize it until somewhere you get to a random problem. You're like, okay, I know how to approach problems. Like I'm good at this, And even if you're not planning on going into a scientific area of study or career, I would still recommend this subject to most people because of this, specifically because of this problem solving skill that it kind of teaches you. Because in no job ever are you not going to have to solve problems. So it really does teach you that in a very cool way. And even though I wouldn't say it's an easy subject, it definitely isn't. It's a challenging subject, but it's a good challenge because it pushes you to think a bit more about things, to try and see, okay, let's not look at the most obvious, but let's see what I can interpret behind that. So yeah, overall, it's a great subject to take, and it's very useful when you go and study further. If you want to go and work immediately, even if you're not like planning on studying anything related to science, it's a great subject to take, and I think it will only have benefits for most people. And I think I should end here with a cool chemistry joke, but unfortunately, most of them are gone. Okay, thanks guys.